Good morning. Good morning. That's way too far away.
What?
It's supposed to be here, not way over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes away. That's what you're supposed to do, Liz.
5 boxes away.
5 boxes away. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 5th box gets pushed backwards.
Okay.
Okay? There you go. Now you know the formula.
Okay. See, that barely fits. Ooh, that's dangerous.
No, it's perfect.
Danger, Phil Balsamo.
Perfect.
Danger, Will Robinson.
I almost shaved my beard off last night. I actually had the clippers in my hand.
I almost spilled coffee all over me.
And I was going to shave it off, and I decided not to.
Why?
I don't know. I might do it today. You're in my way. I can't even get my coffee.
Sorry. Trying to fix my mess up.
Good morning. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning. Hi.
So, welcome to the range on a super awesome Monday. Do you know what really sucks?
What? What sucks?
The days are going to do nothing but get shorter now.
Did we reach the summer solstice?
We did. I think on Friday or Saturday or something.
It is kind of nice that, well, I wake up probably like 45 minutes before the sun comes up. And so I wake up way earlier than I have to. What are you looking at? What time the sun rises?
I couldn't see. I can only see the sunset right now.
I've definitely had those moments, a couple of them recently, because I've been so freaking tired where I woke up and the sun was already out. I'm like, oh God. But it's kind of crazy having the sun come out at, 5:15, 5:30 in the morning.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like it, but it's just crazy.
Sunrise, let's just say it's at 5 o'clock. I don't know what time the sunrise is, but let's just say it's 5 o'clock. And right now the sunset is at 8:30. Cool. That's great.
Heck yeah.
I wish it could be like that all the time.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's going to be 5:30 and it's going to be dark outside and it's going to be dumb.
I don't like daylight savings.
Anyway, I really wish, Liz and I were just talking about this before we went live. I had a belt-fed Monday rant that I just wanted to just tear up this morning. Something that happened yesterday.
But you still can't remember it?
I can't remember it. Now I'm going to rant about that, about my dumb memory.
I definitely understand that struggle.
Anyway, welcome to Live at the Range.
On Monday.
If you can, you super awesome people that are watching, like this video, share this video. Please.
Hold on, you gotta say smash the like button.
That's a YouTube thing. I mean, if you're on YouTube, smash the like button when you're watching this later. But if you're watching this on Facebook, please like and share this. This, obviously, for those of you that are watching this live right now, you know this is our backup page. Charles is working diligently. He's like sweating it out. He's mashing his keyboard, trying to get our main page back up and going. We have substantially more followers on our main page than we do on this backup page. So
we need more.
Yes, please share the video and maybe we can get some more people. Even if it's not the video, share some of our other content, all the super awesome stuff that Charles puts out there about upcoming classes or memberships or deals or whatever it is. Just coming in and seeing Liz's smiling face and my mean face.
That picture that we took before we were beating each other up the other day, last week,
awesome.
It was awesome. But that picture that we took after the sandbags and you're making that... you look really mean.
This weekend, I got to do some fun stuff, and I got to teach a defensive handgun class. I hardly ever get to teach those anymore, because Vinny always steals them all. But I got to teach a defensive handgun 2 class. Man,
you were in the zone, too. Like, it just flowed, and I didn't even see you look at a course of fire. You didn't use a course of fire, did you? You just went. Just went.
It's just a fun... I love that class. It's a lot of fun, and interesting thing happened. So I always give a little spiel before the upper level classes that, hey, this is an upper level class, and if you're not ready for class, we're going to ask you to leave. It's nothing personal. It's a safety thing, and it's an education thing. Meaning that you're not going to get the education that you paid for if you're not ready to take in the information, and it should be an education that you need to be ready for the class you sign up for.
It's like going to algebra before you've done math.
Yeah.
And
algebra is math.
Basic math.
Okay,
101, I guess.
But we had a student who was like, we did some basic warm-up drills, dry drills and stuff, and he was struggling a little bit. And he owned straight up to it. He's like, dude, I haven't shot in a long time. I've never shot this gun before. I think I'm going to bow out today. High five, man. That's. I'm sure that's not an easy. He was there with his son too, so it wasn't. There's ego that gets involved there as well.
Absolutely.
And he was very easily, at least from my perspective, it may not have been so easy for him, but easily able to check that ego and say, hey, I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for this class. Let me come back and do some shooting, and I'll come back and take the class. And we offer that up. Like, yeah, you took a spot in the class that somebody else couldn't take. The class was sold out, but it's the right thing to do.
We value your education and retention of the concepts more than the money or the business and that we get from that. And I think that because we value that so much, because we're passionate about the learning experience, we understand stuff like that. And we definitely value when we see it in our students that they also value the training and themselves and their education enough to where they can make that decision like, all right, not quite ready for this yet. I need to take a step back and either, he didn't have any safety issues, but there's definitely been times like that too. Like if you take an advanced class where we go down range, we're not separated by those bulletproof panels anymore, and you're not quite there safety wise yet. Just to be clear, you have to train yourself to be safe with a gun. It doesn't just happen naturally. So if you take a basic pistol and you haven't committed those safety rules to your subconscious yet, and then you start going into defensive level classes, you might find yourself violating those safety rules, and that would be one of those times where like, hey, you're not quite ready for this yet. Let's call it, come back another day, work on those safety rules, and commit those to memory before you start jumping into the advanced classes. But that's super awesome to see that in a student, their value of their education and everything. So awesome.
It was good, and it was a fun class. We had a great group of people.
Hell yeah, heck yeah.
It was
trying to get this Facebook page deleted. Deleted. Sorry, Charles.
It was a good time. Vinny had a CCW class that he was teaching on Saturday. It was great. He's in there yelling and screaming and doing Vinny things. It was awesome. I think everybody had a good time then. And then he had a Carbine 1 on Sunday, which I wasn't here for, but I'm sure it went swimmingly.
Yeah.
So if you haven't come out and taken any classes with us, do it. Do it. Right? Like even if a lot of people think they already know what they're doing and they know all there is to know. There's a lot to this world. And I think we had some guys in class this weekend. I'm sure Vinny had some in his CCW class just because he had so many students. I think we had a couple that were surprised that they didn't know nearly as much as they thought they knew.
Oh yeah, that's almost we give a little course reflection after class and ask you some questions. They're not your typical like course review questions. They're what were you surprised by, and it gives you questions that help you to go back and kind of revisit what you just learned.
Reflect on what you just were taught.
Yeah, and a lot of people are very surprised by a lot of things that they thought they knew that they didn't. I was very surprised at the intricacies of the trigger. I was very surprised at how much grip affects my accuracy. Or I was very surprised at, I don't know, you name it. So, and that's kind of a cool way to reflect back on your experience because you're challenging you already have a bias. So it is a big deal for you to open up your brain to be willing to accept new information. Just coming into a training class in general is a challenge to your ego. So props for coming in and training and learning all those little bitty details that make you so much better. So anyway, your face looks like you're about to go to sleep. You're like, Liz is talking.
I need the coffee this morning. I had some great. We did a jiu-jitsu this morning, so typically I go to jiu-jitsu on Monday mornings, and today was a lot of sparring, so it was a lot of energy. And I rode my bike this weekend. I have not been riding my bike much because I messed up my knee a long time ago. Was that before SHOT Show or after SHOT Show that I messed up my knee? Do you remember? I don't know. It was a while ago, and so for those of you that are newish here, I like to ride bikes, especially mountain bikes. I have not been able to do that because my knee's been jacked up. And Friday, I was able to get out for a ride. It was for the very first time that my knee didn't bug me. So then I went and rode again on Sunday. I am not in shape.
Does it bug you now?
Ride, but no.
Good.
No, I mean, it bugged me a little bit this morning at jiu-jitsu, just trying to get warmed up. But otherwise, all good. Mr. Birch, good morning, sir.
Hi, Grant.
So anyway, we have gotten way off topic. What are we talking about today?
I don't remember.
Left of bang. What the heck does that even mean?
What is left of bang?
What is left of bang?
Well, first off, let me
What do you think it means?
put in the comments.
I'm doing this. Liz hates it when I do this because she hates it when I point at people.
No, people don't like it when you point at people.
You hate it when I point at
No, it's
people.
I don't give it. So, where does the term left of bang come from? Grant says guns.
Guns.
Could be. So it's actually, this concept is based off of a book called Left of Bang by Patrick Van Horne. Patrick C. Let me just make sure I got his name right. I pulled it up, but I just want to make sure because I want to give credit where it's due. Yeah, Patrick Van Horne. It's a fantastic book. I've read it. I've listened to it on Audible probably 3-4 times now. And I learned something new from it every single time. This is the concept.
Hold on. I want to stop right there.
Okay.
Only because of what we talked about earlier in taking a class, even though you think you know things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've listened to this book or read this book multiple times and you still pick up something new because concepts that are huge, right? You're trying to understand and accept this thing. And it's like, okay, that big thing makes sense. Now we get to understand this much, in a little bit more detail to make the whole big picture seem more clear. And then we get to do it again and again until you're smashing somebody's head,
so
right?
exciting.
Yeah. And same way with taking a class. You take a basic pistol class, even though you've been shooting a CCW class. Dude, I've been shooting forever. I don't need no stupid CCW class. Come take it, because you will learn something. You will hear something different. Sorry.
That's right.
Continue.
100%. And just to go into that a little bit more, every time that I walk into your class or Vinny's class or whoever's class that's teaching something, I pick up something every time. It's just, you just got to be open to it. If you're
Sometimes
not,
it's what not to do, especially if you go into Vinny's class.
but that is not wrong either.
Yeah, no.
And I don't remember what day it was.
Not because of the instructor, but usually it's because of the student will do something goofy, and
Well,
sometimes it's the instructor too.
Sometimes. But so Vinny came into my CCW class, I don't know, last week sometime, and I don't know, it was one of those days where things just come out flip-flopped or something, and I was trying to use Vinny as an example for the retreating from disengaging from a fight, and whether it's still applicable to add force, and I got all mixed up. I was sweating. So yes, you can have those moments of what not to do. Don't drink too little coffee. Drink more coffee. Anyway.
Okay, left of bang.
Okay, left of bang. So book.
Sorry, that was my bad. I squirreled her.
So left of bang, book. So what is left of bang? He did it again.
I don't know. Left of bang, book.
Book.
Look.
It's a book called Left of Bang. So what does left of bang mean? Bang is the incident. Okay, so the whatever negative thing.
Yep. The
fight,
explosion,
yes.
the water leak, the whatever.
So our goal is to be left of bang. If you're right of bang, that's after it's already happened. So if you consider being left of bang, then you're being proactive and avoiding things or making decisions before the bang happens. And basically, this is based off the combat hunter course that the Marines instilled in 2007, I believe, during Iraqi freedom. And this was to help them blend in better and to identify insurgents when they were overseas and trying to fit in. But they were also noticing that these people that they were trying to pay attention to, the insurgents, were also doing things to blend in. So they had to find ways to point them out and basically see the issue before it happens.
Right, so they had to learn that a different culture has a different baseline, right? Like their normal might be different than our normal because of societal and cultural norms. right? I'm asking the question, okay? So they have to learn to identify what those new norms are for them, and then what would be anomalous for them trying to act like what we would expect them to act like.
Essentially, yes.
So it's you're trying to out the double or triple spy or whatever.
The wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you think that you can look at a certain demographic and make a decision on whether or not they're going to be a threat to you, you're wrong. Like, what is a threat? What would you define? How would you define a threat? It's tough. Until I read this book, it was like, I don't know. So how would you define a threat? In the book, it says that a threat can be defined as someone that's capable, or something that's capable of hurting you, and that has the intent to hurt you. Okay, so that would be, in this book, that's the definition of a threat. So how do you figure out if someone's got intent to hurt you and if they're capable of it? So you pretty much would view things as a whole in a big picture, i.e. baseline, to be able to recognize anomalies, things that stick out, that compared to the baseline, you have to understand that things that stick out to you might not stick out to him or me, so you have to find what sticks out in comparison to the baseline. So baseline plus anomaly equals decision. You compare the baseline to whatever anomaly that you see, and then you can make a decision accordingly. Okay? Very hard to make that decision no matter what. Absolutely. So and making decisions in the defensive world is not an easy thing. So there was another book I was reading very similar to this one
called, said the same thing. Making decisions is not an easy thing.
Yeah. This one's called Can I See Your Hands? And they gave a little example of, let's say you're sitting in traffic. I'm going to try to say this the best I can from memory, but let's say you're sitting in traffic and you are in an area where carjackings are fairly common. So you're sitting there, and while you're waiting for the light to change, you see someone running towards you with their hood up, with it pulled tight, and one of their hands behind their back, and they're like sprinting in your direction, and they're making eye contact with you. So you have a decision to make. You have a very quick decision to make. So if this person is running towards you with their hood up, with their hand behind their back, what do? Well, you have decision one, where you step on the gas and potentially hit them with your car and escape. Okay, so you hit them, and again, I'm trying to remember. And then as they get up, they draw a gun and they fire at your car, telling you that they were probably going to carjack you. Okay, so decision two, they're running towards your car. You hit the gas, and as you're taking off, you see a woman getting out of her car like this because you just hit her son, who was running to her car to get in because he was running late. Okay, so that's option two. Option three, you're sitting there seeing this guy run up to you. You don't make a decision. He runs right up to your car and puts a gun to your head and carjacks you. Or option four, this person's running up to you, runs right past you, and goes and gets in the car next to you. Just like that. You have to make a decision. I can't even tell, I'm not going to give you an answer for that, because it's so, nothing would ever happen the way you envision it to happen. We can discuss situations all day long, but if you were to ever encounter a situation, it's not going to just happen like that. They're so dynamic and so situational that to give you an answer for that that would be wrong of me to do that. It would depend on the totality of the circumstances, and if you could articulate that you were reasonable in doing what you did.
See, the problem here is that what the scenarios you just went through their conclusion, right? Well, now it's easy to make a decision.
Sure,
right?
You know the
in hindsight. But in the moment, the lead up is all exactly the same. The only thing that's any different is the last 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. And that can change drastically. So what do you think? Should you have options?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, should you, and we'll use me as an example from a few months ago, and I've told this story on here where I'm sitting in my car just reading a book, killing some time, waiting for an appointment, and some lady who was not in her right mind just left a liquor store and is walking towards my car. I could tell she was out of it because I watched her walk into the liquor store and she was out of it. And as she's walking back through the parking lot towards me, she's got this gaze that's just like blank everywhere.
So she's looking through you?
Yeah.
That's
I don't even think she knew. Actually, I wasn't in my car. I was in a black car. But I was going to say I was in mine. It's bright orange. You can't miss it. But I'm the only car sitting here. I literally pulled under a tree to be in some shade. I could not tell that she was looking at me or way down the road, right? So I am now trying to decide, like, okay, I have pepper spray in my pocket. Do I get that out and put that in my hand? Do I wait for her to walk all the way up to my car and ask me for money? Do I just put it in drive and take off as she gets closer? What do I do? I ended up just sitting there and waiting to see what she was going to do, and she ended up just...
Were your windows open?
Yep, my windows were open.
Did you think about rolling your windows up?
Not really, and not specifically that I can recall anyway.
Isn't that interesting though? Like, just like whether you've thought about driving away or rolling up your window or backing out of your spot or whatever, or probably pulling out of your spot, because surely you didn't just pull into your spot.
I wasn't even in a parking spot. I was literally just parked on the edge of a parking lot.
I got you. So just, you mentioned choices, like you have choices at that point, and luckily she was moving like a slow zombie, not a fast zombie.
Yeah, she was very slow.
I love the slow zombies. Fast ones are scary. So you have options there, and then you have to weigh your options right there in the moment, which can be tough. Luckily she was moving slow, so you had some time. So there was a couple things that you had mentioned. First off, you saw her walk in and you saw her walk out. Based off of the way that she was carrying herself, you could tell that she was in an altered state of mind. That's one anomaly.
She was an anomaly, right? Because
yes.
There were other people walking on the streets and into the liquor store and stuff that did not stand out to me. Yep.
They're just walking into the liquor store to grab some beer and walk back out. They're your typical person just walking into the store, walking out. They fit the baseline. Everybody has a goal. They walk in, they do things, and then they come back out to get to their car to keep it on. So she's the anomaly. She's the one that sticks out as in an altered state of mind. Then when she came back out, you said that, what was it? I put my finger up when you said it. I was trying to... she looked through you. So is a difference between making quick eye contact
Sure.
with someone and then like looking through someone is, we don't multitask very well. So let's say that
we don't multitask at all. People think
exactly. So that tells me her brain is maybe she's zoned out, or maybe she's thinking of something and formulating a plan. It's just an anomaly, and it's just something to pay attention to. It doesn't mean that, she's thinking while she's looking at me, I gotta punch her in the face. Like, that's not what that means. It's just something to add on to the next one. So she's an altered state of mind, and she's looking through you. Through you is very different than just looking around, things like that. It changes the intent, the manifest intent. And then the third thing was there was no other cars in the parking lot, yet she started walking toward you, which starts to continue, or it continues that manifest intent. She's showing an intent to engage with you. So those are three anomalies, which that's a cluster. That's a good cluster of something to consider as a threat. So then you need to make a decision. Your decision was to just wait it out, because you had already made a mental plan. You had already figured out what tool you were going to use based off of her demeanor and her abilities, and you formulated a plan. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You pay attention to your baseline to recognize when someone's an anomaly, so that way you can formulate a decision. That's it. So some things that, one thing that I like to do when I'm driving, and kind of to relate to your situation, you know, if I pull up to somebody at, so the other day I was actually making a small video about making decisions like this, and as I was approaching this car, it's just a single lane, there's a turn lane to the left, and then there's a sidewalk and you could go off to the right. And I pulled up and I was talking out loud to the video thing about what was going on, and I make this
video
little
thing?
Well, I'm video on my way home. Anyway, so
To your phone?
yes.
Okay. The video thing.
The video thing. Anyway, so I pull up and there's a car in front of me, and I started formulating my plan if somebody tried to carjack me. So let's say somebody walked up to my driver's side in order to carjack me. First off, I have enough space in front of me because I can see their rear wheels in my windshield that I know, because of the turning radius of my car, that I can just quickly turn my wheel and get out of Dodge. Now, which way would I go? I also formulate that as I'm driving up. And guys, I know it's like, really? You go through all that? Like when you're just pulling up to stop? It happens just like that. It's no different than you go to cross the street when you're walking through the parking lot. You look both ways, right? That's exactly what I do. And it takes 2 seconds. It's not even 2 seconds.
Can I give another analogy? And it's funny, I was thinking about this just this morning.
Can I finish with just real quick?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But don't forget it.
Okay, I got it. Stoplights. Remember.
Okay.
Remind me of it.
So I was like, which way would I go? Well, if he's on my left, first off, on the right, I have a sidewalk, and there was nobody walking around. So I know that the curb was short enough that I could jump it and just drive on the sidewalk to go right. If I were to go left, one, I would run into him, which may or may not be a big deal. Depends on if he's got a weapon or something that's proving to me he's a lethal force, like deadly force, of which my car could be a weapon. It would be justified. To the left, I'm also encountering oncoming traffic if I were to continue left and go off to the left. So then I would maybe hit head on with someone, which would cause more damage to me and someone else. So to the right, if I were to encounter traffic, I would essentially sideswipe someone. So those little things, those decisions in my head, formulated a plan to get away from danger if someone tried to carjack me, and with consideration of keeping myself safe as I encounter oncoming traffic. And it, like I said, took less than a second, and because I practice it. Practicing being situationally aware is the coolest thing ever, guys. You don't have to exert any physical energy. You don't have to say anything out loud. You don't have to share anything with anybody. You can think all these goofy things inside your head, and nobody has to know about it, and you can practice it whenever you want. You can get curious. And guys, it's almost like being like a 4 or 5-year-old again. You like, wow, the world is so freaking awesome. There's so many things that you don't see. Look around. Look around. That way you have a good baseline, and you can find these anomalies, you can compare these anomalies to your baseline. You can make better decisions, and you're just so much more engaged in your world. You're truly present, and it's just good. It's just good. So let's read what Grant said.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to suggest.
It is like the scenario police threat training setup where your decision is wrong majority of the time. You either shoot or don't shoot, or evade or don't evade at wrong time. Obviously, the training simulator simulates these decisions on purpose. Yeah. Oh, the simulators. Yeah, they're great for this. They give you,
because you'll see the same lead up, but then that last second, 2 seconds, can be something totally different. Mm-hmm. And it's a crapshoot. It really is. It really is.
But the better you know your world, and the better you just practice these concepts, the easier it is to create baselines quickly. And baselines are generally based off of the people around. You have to pay attention to people's behaviors, groups and how they interact with each other, the overall feeling of the environment. You walk into a place like, man, I got a bad feeling about this. We've all had that. That's the general vibe that you get walking into a room. And there's all kinds of things to pay attention to. It's fun. It's awesome. Maybe it's just fun for me. I'm a nerd.
So, you are a nerd. So, stoplights.
Yes.
We've heard this analogy before in a different context, in a different class. I don't know if you remember or not, but it was a class you and I were in, and I lead a year or 2 years ago or something. Not this past one, but one before. Anyway, I thought about it again this morning as I was coming up to the stoplight here because of class that I taught on Saturday, Defensive Handgun 2, and we work on mag changes, and there's this battle, argument, whatever you want to call it, in the gun world of should you look at your gun when you do mag changes, should you stay focused on the threat, and so on and so forth. And green lights on the road are our baseline, right? That's what we expect to see. Gonna make an assumption that none of you drive around and watch every light from the moment you can see it till you go past it, right? You're looking at traffic, you're changing the radio, you're doing all this stuff, but you can still see that stuff. All of a sudden it changes to yellow. Think about how many decisions you make. You look left, you look right, you look in front of you, you look in your rearview mirror. Are there any cops around me? Do I have enough time to get across the line before it turns red? You're making do I need to get my foot off the brake, or off the gas and on the brake, or do I need to mash on the gas a little bit more? You're making all these decisions right now.
That's cool. I haven't compared it to that
right
one.
Now.
Yeah, for sure.
That yellow light is that anomaly that wakes you up, and now all of a sudden you have to make a decision. And you do. You scan left. Well, I hope you do. You don't just blindly.
We are in St. Louis.
Yes. You don't just blindly run right through it. But you look left, look right, look at that rearview mirror, and usually if it's me, I mash the gas and go, as long as there's no cops. But then I'm getting ready to mash the gas, and I look at my rearview mirror, and I'm like, oh crap, that's a white car behind me that looks like it has lights on the roof. I'm going to hit the brake instead.
That's
you got to make that decision.
That's right.
Right now.
Right now.
And you have the ability. You don't realize that you do it. Maybe now you will, and you can start to focus on it a little bit more and practice things like what Liz was talking about with coming up to stops in traffic and weighing options, having those decision trees formulated so you know what you want to do if you have to.
Imagine, I like the driving comparison. You know, like you're driving down the highway and it starts raining. Okay, there's your anomaly. Like, there's an anomaly. It was sunny, things changed. Now you have to change the way that you're viewing your environment. So you can see up ahead of you if you're mentally preparing for a big puddle on the road. You can pay closer attention to that and be prepared for that. Or do you not pay attention and then encounter that big puddle at the last second, and then you're Jesus take the wheel kind of thing, and then you hope for the best. So it's like, do you pay attention and you recognize that there could be a puddle up ahead or a bad guy up ahead? I'm making, just gross generalizations here. Or do you just wait for it to happen and react? So be prepared for those things and have that good baseline so you know what to expect. And you can recognize when things get a little... Is it awry or awry, or how do you know what I'm talking about? AWRY? Awry, yeah. I always thought it was spelled one way. I know. Listen, I've said it a bunch of times. I don't.
Things go awry. Yeah.
But then when I looked up how to spell it
too. It's yummy.
When I looked up how to spell it, then I started questioning how you say it. I overthought it. That never happens. So
Left-of-bang.
Yes.
Who developed that class?
The Marines. Well,
who developed it for the Marine Corps?
I believe it was General Mattis. At least it was under his command, and I don't know if there was. He definitely went into it.
Who did you meet at Ileta last year?
Are you talking left of Greg?
Greg.
I wonder if
he developed that course for the Marine Corps.
He was okay. That makes a lot of sense.
What's his last name?
I don't remember.
Left of Greg is another podcast that you can listen to. He covers this a lot. He developed the Left of Bang course for the Marine Corps, and this is quite a while ago, and it's evolved and developed more since then. I don't even know if they still do Combat Hunter or if they've changed it to something else, but it was
Greg Williams.
So I got to go to a class that Greg and another guy who's on this, Brian, put on, and it was an awesome class. And she was in a different class in a different part of the building. And I think I texted you then, like, hey, this is...
Oh, yeah.
She was so mad that she was in class B instead of class A. It was a great class. Then we go to lunch. Who we run into? Them. It was cool. And she got to nerd out with them.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. She was like, I want to go say hi, but I don't want to go say hi. Like, just go. They're just people. Just go say hi. And then they legitimately love what they do.
They do.
Like, they
so
were
much.
excited to meet somebody who was excited to meet them. Right? It was really a cool experience. Super smart people.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh dang, I could sit and listen to them talk for days.
They have a podcast. It used to be called Left of Greg. Now it's called the Human Behavior Podcast. You could still find either one, searching either. It's what I really like about their podcast is when they start the podcast, it doesn't take like 20 minutes before they actually start talking about a topic. They literally turn it on. I don't even think they say their names most of the time. That's the only reason why I know their names, because it's Left of Greg. And they just dive into the information, and you can tell the way that they talk about it. It's like they just can't wait to get it out. It's like, oh, and this, and you need to know this, and like, and this, and they compare it with all these real life examples, and it's a fantastic podcast. They're really fantastic people, and like you said, they're just
Greg is very
super
much
passionate.
Been there, done that kind of guy.
Oh yeah, he's very wise.
Brian too.
Yeah,
he doesn't have quite as much gray as Greg does. Very well spoken, lots of knowledge to share, and they're both continuous learners too, which is what I think is cool. They didn't just settle on this and say it was good information and stop there. They've continued to evolve this and learn from the world. It's really a pretty cool thing.
It is.
So definitely worth going and
awesome.
checking out if you want to nerd out on some of that human behavior stuff. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating.
For sure. And get one of these books. Left of Bang is, again, it was designed for the Marines, but these concepts are, and they explicitly say it in the book, this is for anyone. It doesn't matter what lifestyle you lead. This is for everybody. And like I said, I've read it 3 or 4 times now. It's not theory. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best books I've ever read. I could just go on and on. I got a whole list of these books that have just really changed my perspective on this world for the better, for sure. So pay attention. Oh, okay, just real quick.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So one of the things that they brought up on one of the it was the author doing an interview with another podcast about the book and these concepts in here. So they were talking and just going over some stories and stuff like that. And he brought up the Aurora, Colorado shooting in the movie theater. And this was interesting. I didn't get a ton of details from the Colorado shooting when it happened a long time ago. So I was a little fuzzy on the original details, but based off of the way that they explained the whole situation, this is crazy. So midnight showing of Batman, and it's obviously midnight, it's dark, and it's the premiere showing, so their baseline is a chaotic movie theater of all these hundreds of people coming to see this movie. And so what you would typically see in something like that, what you'd envision of an event like that. So I forget his name. What's the name of the shooter? It doesn't matter. I don't. So we'll just call him Shooter. So the shooter comes in and he gets a ticket to go into the movie, and he sits down in the movie theater. And once the previews and everything start going, he stands up and walks out the emergency exit door. Anomaly number 1. He props the door open with like a tablecloth or something. I don't remember what he used, but he propped the door open so it's just cracked open. Anomaly number 2. He goes outside to his car, and I believe he was parked in a weird spot too, so that's anomaly number 3. He puts on a ballistic helmet, he puts on ballistic clothes, all black, he puts a vest on, and he completely loads up with 3 different, he had a pistol rifle and shotgun, and he completely decked himself out. walked right back into the theater and tossed tear gas into the theater. Everybody in the theater thought that him standing up, walking out of the emergency, and coming back in, throwing grenades and everything was all part of the show or someone playing a prank. All the way up to the point where he started opening fire in that movie theater, and even the side theaters were having bullets going through the wall, and everybody stayed there. Like, hardly anybody got up and moved or ran or anything until they witnessed someone getting shot next to them, and then they started getting up to run or to do whatever. The room was completely dark. There was tear gas everywhere. You couldn't see anything, and it was total chaos. But the amazing thing to me is that he was outside for 10 minutes after he propped that door open. He was outside for 10 minutes getting all his stuff on. Why didn't someone realize it at that? Like, that was a red flag. That was something, and truthfully, that situation was horrific. And I don't want to, I'm not trying to, like, say anything like, you did this wrong. Like, that's, humans are crazy and do insane things whenever they're under this amount of chaos and stress. But we can definitely learn from this. And the fact that there was something there that I guarantee you people saw, and this was weird. They could have even just called 911. Like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but this was weird. Or maybe you just stood up and went out to the bathroom and be like, someone just went out the emergency. What's the pros and cons to each? Let's say you got up and you went to go tell manager that someone went out the emergency door. Okay, pro to that, maybe they would have figured out what was going on and lives would have been saved. Con to that, you look like a weirdo, and they're like, okay, and then you go sit back down and nothing happens. Big deal. Or you call 911, like, okay, I can totally get why someone wouldn't call 911 for someone walking out of emergency exit. I get that. That seems to me even like, okay, that's kind of paranoid. But if I saw somebody walking out of the damn emergency exit, I would think that was weird. At the very least, especially if I was with my family, I would get up and walk out of that damn theater until I figured out what the heck was going on, because that's a red flag.
You did it somewhat recently. With,
oh yeah.
Not obviously not at a movie theater, but at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Where there was anomaly, and finally you were like, I've had enough, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And probably, most likely, nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
But why sit around and wait and find out when you start having all these things stack up?
Yep.
Just move.
And people always say, nobody saw it coming.
That's not true.
I get it. It's, people are good people. For the most part, people make good decisions and do good things. But the wolf in sheep's clothing are the ones that you're not going to recognize. Those are the ones that are pretending to be good people. And when you say yourself that nobody would ever do something like that, this isn't going to happen to me. Oh, I hear gunfire. It's probably just the movies. Even though everybody's watching the same movie and there was not a shooting scene in that movie, it wasn't a loud scene. Where's that noise coming from? And why would you think there were firecrackers being lit off in a damn movie theater? You're denying. Those things need to be considered, and actually, you got to make better decisions. Almost everybody I witnessed said, I thought they were firecrackers. Why would there be firecrackers going off in a movie theater? Why?
It's interesting that we say this a lot in our classes, especially in something like this, in an awareness type of class, that, hey, it sounds like all gloom and doom and everybody's bad, and we totally understand that's not true.
Absolutely.
Right? The vast majority of people are just quirky, odd, different, not dangerous, right? There is validation, fortunately or unfortunately, in our classes a lot, where people will be like, hey, that happened to me.
Oh, God, all the time.
Yeah, or that, this thing that you say probably won't happen, happened to me. And sometimes they come out and say it in class, sometimes they don't, sometimes they pull us aside afterwards, and I know you had it, I've certainly had it several times where somebody just loses it in class because of one thing or another that they've dealt with, and all of a sudden they realize, hopefully I realize that they're not alone in the decisions that they made, right, or didn't make. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It's the fact that we want to open your eyes so that you have more potential to see those anomalies and not be a victim.
Absolutely.
That's all that it is. It's not to make it the world sound like everybody's out. Every time somebody comes and asks you, can I help you with that they're there to hurt you.
Yeah. Not
There's
everybody's
a possibility of that.
Yeah.
But not everybody does. Because people are good people. People want to help.
Now, you're paying attention and making these decisions, for your safety will not always prove to you that you did the right decision.
Yep.
I almost never will it.
Hopefully. I don't know
absolutely.
if I say
Hopefully. Like how? So imagine you got up and left that movie theater, and later on you heard on the news what happened. Could you imagine the feeling of you'd probably have survivor's guilt. There'd be all kinds of emotions coming from that. Like, holy cow. But that almost never happens. If you avoid something, a lot of times you will never know. So there was actually something that happened to me that I believe I was rewarded with you did the right thing. But I was going for a walk one morning. It was like 4:30 in the morning. I had my German Shepherd, my pepper spray, my gun, and my flashlight. Everything was all on me, and I was going down the street in my subdivision. I live in a decent neighborhood in Afton, no big deal. It was dark, and it was super early, so not the best time for me to go out walking by myself. But I'm walking down a street here, and then up ahead of me, there's a cross street that leads to a dead end. And I got my dog next to me and everything, and as I see this car coming down the street towards the dead end ahead of me, I can hear loud music playing, and I'm assuming when they saw me, they hit their brakes and they slowed down, but not in time to make a left on the street that I was on. So once they passed the street, music turned down and they put it in reverse, and I was like, nope, there's too many things going on here. First off, it's 4:30 in the morning. For someone to be driving around in a subdivision aimlessly, not knowing where they're going to where they need to, I missed my street. Who knows? Maybe they were falling asleep after a long night's work or something. Okay, so that was anomaly number one. They had their music up very loud. That's anomaly number two. It's 4:30 in the morning. People are sleeping. It just shows less of a concern for other people. And then when they stopped and then put it in reverse and then started to turn down my street, nope, that's anomaly number three. Me and my dog jumped into the bush, period. It just carried me into the bush. I had no choice in the matter. It was very interesting to look back and think of what did I think in that moment? Nothing, just happened. But probably because I had seen it and thought about it before. Whenever we jumped into the bush, that car turned down the street, and as it passed where I was standing, it was driving very slow, and then as soon as it passed that house that I was at, it turned the music back up and took off, at their normal rate of speed. That just tells me everything, that they were probably wanting to engage with me somehow. Maybe they wanted to ask me for directions. Maybe they wanted to ask me about my awesome-looking dog. Maybe they wanted to get my number. I don't know, but I didn't want to find out.
Maybe they wanted to stuff you in the trunk.
Absolutely. Maybe there was... And okay, I had my tools on me. What am I afraid of? I don't want to use my tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to use my tools, and I don't want to risk the fact that I could lose a physical fight. I have hand-to-hand skills, and I have less lethal tools, and I have a lethal tool. I feel pretty confident about my ability to use most of those tools, but I don't want to put them to the test. Not on the street. On the mats, sure. Not on the street. So I chose to jump in the bush. I think that I was rewarded that day whenever they drove by slowly, and I was able to kind of visualize their intention, because you don't always get that. So that's my story.
All right, I think we got to go. We've been rambling a long time this morning.
I don't even know what time we got on, but
I don't either. But we've been rambling for a while. And please remember, if you're watching this later and you've made it through all 45 minutes or however long this thing is, if you're still on Facebook, like and share this. Again, our main Facebook page, no worky. This is our backup page. Let people know to come check out our backup page. If you're watching this on YouTube later, smash like button. Please.
hit the
And hit the
subscribe button. Oh my gosh, we're becoming those people.
I know.
That's okay.
You guys need something, come see us, 14803 Manchester Road in beautiful Baldwin, Missouri. 10 to 8, Monday through Friday, Saturday 9 to 6, Sunday 10 to 6. Stay safe. Be nice to one another. We'll catch you soon. Later.
Toodles.